The Nintendo 64 is the classic example of you just had to be there. Kids today will never, ever understand the level of magnitude it was when the N64 was launched back in September of 1996. Seeing Mario 64 for the first time in a kiosk at your local Blockbuster was like the first time you opened up your older brother's Penthouse magazine. Jeez la goddamn wheeze, I don't know what this is, but I've died and gone to heaven harder than Halo on Legendary. The generational gaps between modern consoles now are not even close to where they used to be. The PS4 to the PS5? Yeah, sure. The frames per second get better, it goes from 1080p to 4K, the ray tracing is increased, blah blah blah, but nothing will ever top going from 16-bit consoles to a 32-bit one. The jump to the SNES to the N64 was like going from a single-ply ShopRite no-frills toilet paper to baby wipes in a hot, steamy shower. Owning an N64 back in the day was the grown-up equivalent of being hung like a witch in Salem. You were the fucking man. And don't get me wrong, the PS1 was awesome in every way, maybe even sometimes superior to the N64, depending on what genre you're comparing it to. But when it came to quality and awesome multiplayer games, having an N64 was like owning a pair of Jenko jeans. Believe it or not, my desire to own an N64 was not influenced by Mario 64, but actually GoldenEye 007 and Star Fox 64. In the fall of 1997, I was still rocking my Sega Genesis more than Korn's Life is Peachy and my 60-second shock protection Discman. Holding that N64 controller at my local Blockbuster and experiencing the Rumble Pack for the first time was like your first HJ. Is this real life? At the time of its release in June of 1997, the game received critical acclaim and was labeled a masterpiece. Although, it's very fair and obvious to say that Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, and GoldenEye were the killer apps for the console. Regardless, the N64 was all about quality over quantity, and man did they double down on that hard. Am I allowed to make another analogy regarding something being hard? So anyways, similar to the Panzer Dragoon series on the Sega Saturn, Star Fox 64 took the on-rail shooter formula that they used on the original Star Fox on the Super Nintendo and perfected it. Yes, perfected it. I don't care what you say, what your experience was with this game back in the day, how this game has aged 25 plus years later, this is still a perfect on-rail shooter experience and quite possibly the golden standard in the genre. I'm not even going to bother you into details about the story because it's an on-rail shooter game. Yeah, I'm sure you know the story. On Corneria, the fourth planet of the Lilat system, Andros is driven to madness, blah blah blah. General Pepper exiles Andros, blah blah blah. General Pepper hires Star Fox team, blah 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 blah. Who gives a shit? Let's just talk about how awesome the gameplay is. The game has aged like a fine wine. While capturing gameplay footage for this video, I actually forgot about the fact that I was recording it for a YouTube video and I had a blast playing it all over again. Did I beat it? No, but you can eat my ass and rest assured that I got pretty damn far. In this game, you control Fox McCloud, hence the name Star Fox. Most of the game takes place on an on-rail path straightforward throughout the stages. Pretty much, your aircraft can be maneuvered around the screen to dodge obstacles and can also perform somersaults to get behind enemies or dodge projectiles. Man, I love that move. The aircraft is also capable of deflecting enemy fire while performing the spinning maneuver, the classic do a barrel roll. Throughout the game, you can fly or drive through power-up rings to collect them, just like Superman 64, am I right? These include silver and gold rings that refill the vehicle shields, weapon upgrades, wing repairs, extra lives, bombs, etc. The game features a branching level system, which was actually pretty cool for its time, in which more difficult paths are unlocked by completing certain objectives on that level. At the time of 1997, this was kind of a big deal, but I guess looking back on Mario 64, I guess maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But it was a far cry from the original Star Fox. Players can also change paths once the current mission has been accomplished. But just like in Mario 64 and GoldenEye, there is a 4-player multiplayer option. There are 3 modes to the multiplayer. There's a point match, in which the player must shoot down an opponent a certain amount of times, a battle royale, which, I mean, come on, you know what that is, and of course a time trial. They actually remade this game for the Nintendo 3DS called Star Fox 64 3D. I never played it before, but according to Wikipedia, the game received positive reviews from critics who praised the gameplay, updated graphics, and visuals, and faithfulness to the original. Although it was criticized for its lack of online multiplayer and limited amount of new content. Which, like, who gives a shit about new content? You're buying a remake of a game. I don't want no George Lucas type of crap where they add stupid shit in to make it fresh. Just remake the goddamn game like I remember it, please. Overall, I consider this game to be a masterpiece. It was a 10 back then, and it's still a 10 today. You can't compare this game to a modern game because it's just not fair. It doesn't make sense to. It's like comparing Mario 64 to Mario Odyssey. Yeah, the camera angle isn't perfect in Mario 64, but it's still Mario 64. Look, you have to understand that this game came out in 1997, so you have to treat it like a game from 1997. You know there's a bunch of asshole kids out there who will play Super Mario Bros. 3 on the original Nintendo and say, ugh, this game is boring, I want to play Call of Duty. Ugh, you son of a bitch. You just don't get it, do you? You had to be a kid when this game came out. You just had to be there. God fucking damn it.